Alrighty, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Sonic the Game Fan, and welcome to episode 12 of my Let's Review series. In today's episode, I will be reviewing, I'm going to be heading back to the Crash Bandicoot series after going through 3 Crash Racing games and a party title. So today I'll be reviewing Crash Twinsanity. I know, it's a big game to review, so my plan is to review the first part, which is the plot, and then part 2 for the characters, cameo, levels, gameplay, and of course, my final thoughts. So, part 2 would include the characters, levels, gameplay, and final thoughts. So welcome to part 1 of the two-part episode 12 of Let's Review Crash Twinsanity. Without further ado, let's begin. Crash Twinsanity was I wouldn't say the final game, but considered me as the third PS2 game, the third Crash game, the fourth Crash game. Well, hold on, no, I take that back. The third Crash game for the PS2. And yes, I do own Crash Twinsanity, but I can't fully show you and review it on the OLED television, because in order to play these PS2 games, I need something called an SD to HDMI converter to play these PS2 games. So I'll talk in depth about the game. So let's begin the plot. But before I start this game right now, this was the game after the Wrath of Cortex. I know I postponed that Wrath of Cortex review and moved it to March 2021, but I'll try my hardest to do this. So let's begin. Let's start off with Chapter 1. It starts down 3 years later after Crash Wrath of Cortex, where Dr. Neo, Cortex, and Uka Uka are frozen and then later washed up on Insanity Island. Cortex knocks out Coco with a ray gun when she was chasing a butterfly, and then later disguising as Coco to lure Crash through the jungle. The path stops, which leads to Coco revealing that it was just Cortex, and revealed an organized gathering. Yes, an organized gathering without the mask or social distancing, with Crash's former past enemies as party guests, which leads to Ding Doddle, Tiny Tiger, Pine Strike Portaloo, Crunch Bandicoot, Nitrous Oxide, Ripperroot, and Koala Kong, and Polar. Cortex started throwing out bombs targeting him, but later orders Engine to roll out the Mecha Bandicoot. That leads to Crash beating the crap out of the robot, and resulting in Crash and Cortex fighting into a cave, knocking the duo down in a hole after Cortex charges into Crash, which leads into a cave-in. It continues as it makes its way through the underground mine, where Cortex stumbles across a power crystal, and then all of a sudden a giant drill rises from the ground to separate Cortex and the crystals from Crash. The drill opens, and then a horde of ants flood out, which taking the crates and leading them to attack Crash. However, he stops the drill and meets up with Cortex to command the Bandicoot to back off from his treasures, or he will go insane with the crystals. Both Crash and Cortex grab the crystals and fight for it, which leads to complete the rest of the level, where the duo gets chased by the drill to the surface, where the evil twin parrots proclaim that they are thinking about taking over the world. Destroying the island. Sorry. They made fun of Cortex and then pulls out Cortex's brain from his head using their psychic powers to make Cortex flee in terror. He was founded by Crash to plead for help, as he states that he envelops the simple life of tribal folk. The novel bear and the bumblebees, which, yes, he did got swarmed by a bunch of bumblebees. Ouch. After the duo passed through the farm, they both encountered again the evil twins to reveal that they were from the 10th dimension, bringing a Tigimon to life to target and destroy Crash and Cortex. But, however, the duo defeats the Tigimon and the evil twins leave, where the twins reveal to give Cortex an idea. The next destination was Iceberg land, so we'll head, which is Chapter 2. After arriving, the lab key didn't work as Cortex was frustrated. That door to the lab was frozen shut, so they tried to force to go up the long way, which is, yes, the iceberg, which leads us to the iceberg, where Cortex meets up with a gang of penguins to pay. And no, I'm not talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins from the NHL. It's the Penguins from Twinsanity. After that, they free Uka Uka and then attacks them with a giant body of ice. While Aku Aku convinces his evil brother to join forces. However, it was just too little too late, as they were both defeated. So now Cortex introduces the Psychotron, which can let them travel to the 10th dimension, requiring which requires power crystals. So, what do the duos do, and what does Crash do? Well, what does Crash do? Well, he uses Cortex as a snowboard to get to Dr. Jin's battleship. Again, ouch. Just ouch. Crash ventures out through the battleship until he found an explosive catch of explosives. Oh my god. Why the TNT explosives? And then the ship sinks down to the ground, and then Crash was into a confrontation of Neforious Trophy and Nitrous Brio on an ice floe. After defeating the two bosses, Crash returns to the Iceberg lair, where the latter was attacked by Coco, who thought Cortex kidnapped Crash. Her assault sends the two power crystals into the Psychotron, damaging the machine. But the bad news is that, unfortunately for Coco, she's paralyzed. Man, none of it is not fun. I mean, just ouch. This leads to Crash and Cortex setting a course for Madame Emily's evil academy to recruit Nina. So now we'll head to Chapter 3 and 4. The duo sneaks into the academy via sewer system and fend out an attack from Dingledall. It starts off with Cortex finding Nina, and then later encountering Madame Emily. Amerbry, I don't know how her name is pronounced, but then he recalls the origins of the evil twins with Cortex. He was an 8-year-old student from that academy, and then he uses his two parrots as subjects, but resulted in the parrots being transported to the 10th dimension. The trio returned to the lair and repaired the Psychotron and traveled to the 10th dimension to face those evil twins. And then all of a sudden, Nina was kidnapped. Like, she's kidnapped by Crash's evil doppelganger. If you thought it was Crunch Bandicoot or Fake Crash, well, no sir, it is Evil Crash. His evil doppelganger desolates home on Twinsanity Island, and that was Evil Crash. Which means it's time for her to go through a chase down. After that, Cortex offers himself in Nina's steed, but then it leads to another chase. God dang, why? So, Crash Bandicoot, Cortex, and Nina head back to the evil twins' compound, confronting Cortex to the evil twins and commanding them to come back to their cage. But the twins, they feel the evil twins feel the compound and later devoured by evil Crash, taking refuge in his own home. And yeah, Cortex attempts to eliminate Crash, but the Psychotron teleports Cortex into Crash's brain, which I gotta say really isn't that great at all. Yep, trapped by a bunch of dancing Crash duplicates. Poor old Cortex. That's it for the plot, and we'll wrap up the first part of episode 12 of Let's Review Crash Twinsanity. I know, I haven't gone through the next part yet, but part 2 will. So, thank you for watching the first part, and as always, if you enjoyed, make sure you rate and comment down below and subscribe. And ring the bell icon to be part of the All-Star Gaming League, as there will be more videos coming your way. So until then, I'll see you guys on episode 2 of the 12th episode of Crash Twinsanity. And just so you know, part 2 is not episode 13. It's still part of episode 12.